With a total of over 5.5 million views, backed by one of the most popular Minecraft content creators there is, free promotion from over a dozen other prominent Minecraft figures, a Twitter account dedicated to it with over 250,000 followers, a Discord server with over 100,000 members, a TikTok with over 100,000 followers, 4 years total spent in development, and everything else 99.99% of Minecraft servers could only dream of having, TubNet was born to succeed. Denoted by some as the Hypixel killer and promising to be a server that brought Java and Bedrock players together, TubNet was meant to be the next big thing. With an almost cult-like following, thousands of players upon release, and more hype than I've ever seen from a Minecraft server in the past, how in the world did TubNet manage to die so fast? Regularly seeing player counts as low as 2 to 3 players, their videos barely getting the views they used to, and some days the server not even managing to get more than 25 players online, even Mineplex is putting up better numbers. But that just begs the question then. With TubNet having everything you could possibly need to succeed and being the most anticipated Minecraft server of the past few years, what exactly went wrong? Well, it all started in August of last year. TubNet originally was set to release for both Bedrock and Java players in late August of 2022. It was going to be brilliant. The server had been in development for 4 years at this point, and their trailer managed to get over 3.1 million views. However, that release would be delayed.
Sadly, I have to announce that we will not be releasing this Friday. Due to no fault of our own, one of our service providers, Cloudflare, was unable to handle the immense load, which was all of you guys joining the server.
As Tubbo mentioned, they were currently having issues handling the massive amounts of players who were trying to join the server. That's very normal for Minecraft servers though. The issue when running a server is that you don't really know how well a server can run until you bring it to its knees. Tubbo and the TubNet team likely beta tested the server themselves, maybe even with small groups of players many times throughout development, to minimal issues. But when you have hundreds of players instead of just a handful, things break in completely unexpected ways, and there's no realistic way to get an idea of how a server will handle players until you get the players to join and play themselves. So them delaying the launch of the server is more normal than anything in the world of Minecraft multiplayer, trust me. Unfortunately, it seemed the players were very understanding, most of which preferring a clean and glitch-free delayed launch rather than a messy release. However, this is where things would begin to go wrong. Two things in particular. First of all, after the announcement of the server's delay, there would be an almost radio silence from TubNet for about 2 months. The hype would die down significantly in this time, and you can see that on Google Trends how much so. This is still normal as well though, and TubNet still had all the resources available to them to bring the hype back. Yet many players didn't even know that the server had come out upon its full release in November of that year. How could that have happened though? Well, it's because TubNet hadn't invested in long-term promotion. After their full release, an event was run on the server featuring 50 Minecraft YouTubers and streamers, many of which had millions of subscribers or Twitch followers, with tens of thousands of people watching the event live. Due to this, and in conjunction with the release of the server, TubNet's player count would spike, hitting around 4,500 concurrent players, the highest it had ever and seemingly would ever see. The player count rapidly fell after that though, and in only a matter of a week, would barely get above 400 players in peak hours, only continuing to fall to the sorry state it is in now. Tubbo did not upload any YouTube videos on either of his channels promoting the server in some way. He did not stream the server that often on his Twitch, very few TikToks were posted on their TikTok account, and beyond a few tweets and retweets, which people would see and then forget about, Tubbo didn't really promote the server at all. This is the same mistake most YouTubers make when they try to create a Minecraft server, and which is why most fail. You can't just release with a big event or video and then cease all server promotion together. You need to have consistent promotion, otherwise the server is doomed. Players are going to leave a Minecraft server no matter what, which is why you need a constant flow of new players coming in. I regularly make videos talking about something relating to my Minecraft server or promote it in some way on my channel, just so I can consistently promote the server and grow it. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. Join my server, og-network.net, for a quality SMP and a Civilization Factions game mode. Oh, and subscribe while you're at it. No pressure, of course. TubNet had no presence on Minecraft voting websites, very little presence on YouTube, not much presence on Twitch, very little presence on TikTok, with only some presence on Twitter. This is not what successful server promotion looks like. Every successful Minecraft server is at least significantly present and visible on one of the platforms I mentioned, consistently being promoted there. I made the same mistake myself when I first released my Minecraft server, uploading an announcement video and then never talking about it again, and surprise surprise, it basically died after a month or two. TubNet needed consistent promotion from Tubbo, and that's not what it got. Now the second issue was that upon the server's release, it was only going to be Java compatible. What had made TubNet unique and helped build a lot of hype was its Java and Bedrock cross-compatibility. Currently, most sizable minigame servers are not cross-compatible, either being Java only or Bedrock only. TubNet was to be, as the trailer mentioned in its description, the first large-scale server to feature full crossplay for Bedrock and Java. And that was true. Currently, almost all crossplay servers are SMPs or similar game modes, not minigames. So as you can imagine, many Bedrock players were excited for this. But upon TubNet's delayed release in November of 2022, and still to this very day months later, the server is not Bedrock compatible. While there are still plans for Bedrock compatibility, there is no set release date. Now, while I don't know for sure, I'm going to use some of my experience running a cross-compatible Minecraft server here to make a bit of an assumption. The true reason TubNet's release was delayed, and the reason the server did not release with Bedrock compatibility as was planned, was because they could not get cross-compatibility to work properly. Now, I don't know for sure what they're using behind the scenes for Bedrock compatibility, but it's likely Geyser or some modified version of it, which for those of you unaware, basically just converts Bedrock players to Java players by manipulating the packets they send to the server. This, however, is extremely taxing on server performance, and as I discovered with my own Minecraft SMP, a single Bedrock player is about as taxing on server performance as at least 3 to 5 Java players. That's excluding the many plugin incompatibilities and issues that arise when introducing Bedrock players to Java plugin ecosystems as well. Simply put, I predict that TubNet could not handle Bedrock players, especially in the abundance they got during their beta tests, and could not get it working properly, or at least to an extent they were happy with. Once again, this isn't exactly TubNet's fault, and neither is it Geyser's fault. But regardless, many Bedrock players felt misled or disappointed that they could not play the server they were so hyped up to play for months now. To this day, players are still regularly asking when Bedrock compatibility will come out. But you may be asking, MrEpic, the server literally had thousands of players upon releasing, and probably tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of more join in total. So how the hell did it die so fast? Where did all those players go? Well, to understand that, we need to look at the server's current game modes. Upon release, TubNet had 2 game modes, Crystal Rush and Lightstrike, with their third game mode, Battle Royale, not being released until a few months later, so let's look at these 2 first. Now, unfortunately, due to my Australian time zone, meaning that the server's player count was almost exclusively in the single digits during appropriate hours for me, I didn't get that many opportunities to play, but from my limited play testing and the discussions of other players, there are some very clear and glaring issues with their minigames. First and foremost, Crystal Rush. What is it, you may be asking? Well, it's basically a reskinned 1.9 combat version of Bed Wars, where you break a crystal instead of a bed. Bed Wars, you may be saying, the game mode which is losing popularity even on Hypixel and many of the other hundreds of servers who run it? Yep, that's the one. Now, to be fair, Crystal Rush has innovated on Bed Wars a bit, and rather than blatantly stealing Hypixel's maps like some other servers, they have designed some very aesthetically pleasing maps. There are also some unique items and power-ups you can get as well. But that's not really enough to make it distinct from Hypixel, and it has some major downfalls. Mining the crystals to not only collect special resources called shards, but also to break other people's nexus is annoyingly time-consuming compared to the ease at which you can pick up diamonds and emeralds on Hypixel and break people's beds. And the islands also seem to be a bit further apart, requiring more monotonous bridging and a slower gameplay loop. Furthermore, some of the power-ups just felt a bit gimmicky. It's really annoying to be in a fight for a player just to fly away, but that might just be personal preference. So with all that being said, why would players play Crystal Rush over Hypixel Bed Wars or any of the many other rip-offs on dozens of other servers? Well, realistically, there's only one reason, and that's for the 1.9 combat, which surprisingly, most of the minigame community who have been playing the same version of the game for over 8 years now dislike. Crystal Rush needed to attract a new audience of players to be successful. Ultimately, they were never going to steal a significant number of Hypixels or any other 1.8 servers players due to the combat differences, and they failed to do that, as the game mode really isn't that innovative or unique. Crystal Rush doesn't really improve on Bed Wars' popular gameplay loop at all, making it slightly worse, if anything. Then there's Lightstrike, TubNet's Minecraft version of CSGO or Valuserant. A competitive 4v4 minigame where the PG terrorists and counter-terrorists duke it out, with the goal of the breakers being either to kill all the places or break the PG bomb called the beacon. The goal of the places is to kill all the breakers or place the beacon and defend it for 45 seconds, where it will then explode. Sorry, remember we have to keep this PG. You can buy weapons and items at the beginning of each round and have to win 4 rounds total to win the game. Now this game mode was successful on Mineplex and Hypixel 7 years ago, but ultimately is now mostly dead on both, with Hypixel's version not getting very many players considering the server size. Now there are 2 big issues I noticed with Lightstrike. The reason Mindstrike and Cops and Crims were successful is because they adapted CSGO's tactical-based fast time-to-kill gameplay quite well. Lightstrike doesn't really play well because the time to kill is way too slow, and players just play it like a team deathmatch, meleeing each other most of the time, at least from my experiences. The other reason for that is because the weapons are all modified versions of bows. Now, I don't know if it's because they tried to be so child-friendly that they didn't want to add guns, but the gameplay is utterly boring because the weapons are not hit scan. Arrows do move faster with different versions of bows, but the fact that you have to stop and draw the bows completely ruins the style of gameplay which this game mode was originally successful on Mineplex and Hypixel for. Yeah, I know there are crossbow weapons, but having to load those up sucks as well. To summarize, Lightstrike is just slow and boring, and in my opinion they adapted it very poorly, although they might have been trying to do something completely different and it just didn't work out. If the game mode is already mostly dead on Hypixel of all places, how in the world is a slightly worse version of it ever going to be popular on TubNet? So you can now see with just those two game modes alone why TubNet originally died so fast. Both are ultimately boring, worse versions of game modes which already exist elsewhere, with 1.9 PvP and the unique elements they added failing to be significant enough to draw newer players in. So what about their third game mode, Battle Royale? Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Minecraft survival games died years ago now, and while there have been multiple attempts from myself and others to bring it back, none have been successful long term. It was a game mode that was only ever really popular with 1.8 players. Trust me, I've tried to get my 1.19 SMP players to play survival games on my server, and they hate it. So you can imagine that such a competitive game mode wasn't really that popular amongst 1.19 players, and the inclusion of 1.9 PvP turned away all prior survival games players as well. To be fair though, TubNet's Battle Royale is probably their most popular and well-designed game mode. It's actually pretty fun to play, although the lack of shields makes axes feel far too strong, but that's more of a 1.9 PvP issue. TubNet's Battle Royale also does have some cool innovations. There are some custom items which are very fun to use, you can actually place and destroy certain blocks, and the map is really well designed and vibrant. But beyond that, it's just a 1.9 combat version of Minecraft survival games at its core, and that's just not enough to bring newer players in. So, is that it for TubNet? Is it over? Or could they bring it back? Well, I don't know, but one thing's for sure, and that's the fact that 1.9 combat-based minigame servers can still be successful. MCC Island is, PvP Legacy is, and so are the hundreds of other non-minigame servers which still involve 1.9 plus combat. The problem with TubNet is that their game modes for the most part are just worse versions of already existing game modes. MCC Island innovated quite well and even have a form of 1.9 PvP Skywars with a healthy selection of unique and enjoyable game modes that are more compatible with the newer age Minecraft player. If TubNet could do the same, start promoting the server consistently and hopefully eventually achieve Bedrock Compatibility, they still have a very good shot of being a successful server. They still have all the resources and reach they started with, which most servers could only dream of having. And not only that, but they have a lot of other cooler stuff as well. Their hub design and general server theme with the resource pack is very unique. The cosmetics, wardrobe and hub little minigames are all very well done and their maps look beautiful. But all of that is ultimately a facade, as the core gameplay, the most important thing, just isn't there. And at the end of the day, that's the only thing that really matters. Now, one thing I want to make clear is that the only reason we know TubNet failed is because it failed. If you had told me that a massive YouTuber was planning to make a 1.9 PvP version of Bed Wars and other game modes in an attempt to modernize a successful or once was successful formula and was going to make it cross-compatible, I would have probably told you it had a good chance of working out. Only in hindsight do we see many of the issues. I commend TubNet for trying to be unique, and I would like to see them bring it back, but only time will tell. Make sure to check out my own server, og-network.net. We are running a special Civilizations SMP event right now. But anyways, be sure to subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching.